Good morning everyone. I am Fraser Singh, Assistant Professor, Babu Banarsi Das University, Lucknow. Today I am going to discuss about therapeutic drug monitoring. Therapeutic Therapeutic drug monitoring is a system of quality assurance of a drug management system aimed at the right drug is given to the right patients in the right dose in order to obtain the right effect. Therapeutic drug monitoring is generally defined as the clinical laboratory measurement of a chemical parameter that with appropriate medical interpretation will directly influence drug prescribing procedures by combining the knowledge of pharmaceutics, pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. Therapeutic drug monitoring enables the assessment of the efficacy and safety of a particular medications in a variety of clinical settings. Therapeutic drug monitoring is a branch of clinical chemistry and a clinical pharmacology that is specialized in the measurement of medications concentration in blood. Its main focus is on drugs with a narrow therapeutic range. Narrow therapeutic range that is drug that can easily be under or overdosed. Therapeutic drug monitoring aimed at improving patient care by individually adjusting the dose of a drug for which clinical experience or clinical trials have shown it improved outcomes in the general or special population. History of therapeutic drug monitoring. The science of therapeutic drug monitoring grew out of the recognition that certain drugs have a narrow therapeutic range. In concentration above the upper limit of the range, the drug can be toxic. In concentration below the lower limit of the range, the drug can be ineffective. And not all patients have the same response at the similar doses. Therapeutic drug monitoring in India. TDM was introduced in India in mid-1980s and the last 20 years have been seen its growth. TDM in India exists in mainly two settings. First one, in large teaching hospitals through Department of Clinical Pharmacology, and next, in private sector biochemistry labs, dedicated CPU units in corporate hospitals like Apollo. Goal of a therapeutic drug monitoring. Ensure that the given drug doses produce maximal therapeutic benefit, minimum toxic adverse effect, must have an appropriate concentration at the site of action that produce benefits. Next goal is process to individualize therapeutic regimens for optimal patient's benefits. Next goal, therapeutic drug monitoring aims to promote optimum drug treatment by maintaining serum drug concentration within a therapeutic range. There are numerous variables that influence the interpretation of drug concentration data, such as time, route of administration and dose of drug given, time of blood sampling, handling and storage conditions, precision, accuracy of our analytical method. Therapeutic drug monitoring aims to promote optimum drug treatment by maintaining serum drug concentration within a therapeutic range. Therapeutic drug monitoring involves not only measuring drug concentration but also the clinical interpretation of the result. Next goal is process is to individualize therapeutic regimens for optimal patient's benefits. Criteria in which therapeutic drug monitoring is useful. First criteria, certain drugs have a narrow therapeutic range. In concentrations above the upper limit of the range, the drug can be toxic. Next criteria, in concentration below the lower limit of the range, the drug can be ineffective. Next, not all patients have the same response at the similar doses. TDM is unnecessary when doses need not to be individualized. Clinical outcome is unrelated either to dose or to plasma concentration. Drugs with wide therapeutic range such as beta blockers and calcium channel blockers. The pharmacological effect can be clinically quantified when concentration effects relationship remains unestablished. Indications for tedium. First, drug efficacy difficult to establish clinically such as phenytoin. Next, suspended toxicity. Next, inadequate therapeutic response. Next, compliance concerns. Next, dosage change. Next, change in patient's clinical state. Next, change in co-medications, and manifestation of toxicity and disease states are similar. TDM process: decision to request drug level, biological sample, the request, laboratory measurements, result communication by laboratory, clinical interpretation, and last, therapeutic management. Routine monitoring, specific indications. In routine monitoring, dose titration after start or change of medications, relapse prevention. Specific indications: lack of response, insufficient response, side effect at the therapeutic doses, potential drug interaction, or other specific indications. Blood sample collection, steady state at the time of minimal drug concentration through level, complete request from demographic data, diagnosis, medications, co-medications, therapeutic effect and side effects. Laboratory measurements, use of validated methods, linearity, accuracy, precision, sensitivity, specificity. Internal and external quality control management. Communication of results, reporting of drug concentration including unit and range of target concentrations, interpretation related to the patient's state. Therapeutic management, consideration of the patient's clinical state, considering of drug concentration in plasma and interpretation of results. After that, optimization of drug treatment, in which we see change in dose, cessation of drugs, change in co-medications, discussion of the results with the patients, example compliance, safety, and pharmacogenetic monitoring, no interventions. Factors affecting TDM: dose sampling time, type testing methodology, pharmacokinetic variability describe the relationship between the dose administered and the resulting plasma concentration. Major source of pharmacokinetic variability: age, in which we consider neonates, children, elders; physiology, gender and pregnancy; disease, hepatic, renal, cardiovascular, respiratory; drug-to-drug interaction; and environmental influences. Pharmacodynamic variability describes the way in which the drug affects the body functions and the relationship between the drug chemical structures, action and effects. Other considerations which affect the TDMs: duration of treatment with the current dose, dosing schedule, age, gender, other drug therapy relevant disease states, reason for request. Process for reaching dosage decision with therapeutic drug monitoring. First of all, a diagnosis is made, a drug is selected, dosage schedule is designed to reach a target plasma concentration. Now drug is administered, patient assessments are performed, drug concentration are determined. Now a pharmacokinetic model is applied and clinical judgment is used if dosage adjustments are necessary. Study protocol for therapeutic drug monitoring. First, title of study or project. Next, investigators, in which chief investigator, joint investigator, co-investigator. Co-investigator considers clinical and research fellow. Next, place of study. Next, patient's recruitment place. Need for TDM study. Objective for study. Criteria for selection of patients. Patient history. Withdrawal of blood sample and storage. Instruments used for measurement of drug level, measurement of clinical parameters like ECG, EEG, respiration, etc. Report preparation and clinical interpretation. Commonly monitored drugs in therapeutic drug monitoring: There are several classes of drugs commonly monitored to ensure the correct blood concentration, including the following: antiepileptics, antiarrhythmics, antibiotics, antineoplastics, antimanics, bronchodilators, and immunosuppressives. Antiepileptics, this class of drug also known as anticonvulsant, is most been prescribed for the management of epilepsy, though it may also be prescribed for other indications such as myotonia and bipolar affective disorders, prophylaxis of certain varieties of migraine, and of cardiac dysrhythmia. Phenytoin indications: correct tonic-clonic seizures, often used instead of phenobarbital. Therapeutic range 10 to 20 μg per ml. Toxicity manifest as involuntary movements of eye, ataxia, and confusion. Test methods: these drugs are most commonly tested with serum or plasma using any of the several commercial available immunoassays. A more sensitive and specific alternative is HPLC. However, due to high cost and long time to result, it is not used routinely. Test timing for the anti-epileptic drugs through concentration are most been obtained for monitoring purpose because they provide the most consistent concentrations values from dose to dose. Peak concentration testing is not recommended. Therapeutic range: therapeutic ranges should be used to help determine the optimal therapeutic concentration for an individual patient, as one patient's optimal therapeutic concentration may fall into the toxic range, while another's may fall below the established therapeutic range. Antiarrhythmic drugs indication: used to improve cardiac contraction in congestive heart failure and to correct supraventricular tachycardia. Therapeutic range 0.9 to 2 mg per ml. Toxicity may be non-specific, example nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, and confusion. But remember, bradycardia with increasing of heart blocks, especially with AV junctional escape rhythms and visual disturbance, known as xanthochromia. Pharmacokinetic problems: 10% population have enteric bacterium E. lentum that can metabolize digoxin, large volume of distribution, and excreted unchanged in urine with clearance that is directly proportional to glomerular filtration rate. Test method: digoxin is the most commonly monitored therapeutic drug. Test timing for the antiarrhythmic drugs: for all antiarrhythmic drugs, samples should be selected at least 6 hours, preferably 8, post-dose to allow for absorption and distribution. Therapeutic range: for patients with normal renal functions who have achieved steady state level, the therapeutic range for digoxin is based on blood samples obtained 8 hours after the last dose. Testing of earlier samples may produce vastly elevated results. Numerous factors affect the action of these drugs. Aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides monitoring is mandatory in all patients. Aminoglycosides accumulates in the renal cortex. Toxicity, nephrotoxicity, and ototoxicity. Test methods of aminoglycosides: HPLC can be also used for many of these drugs with the exception of gentamicin, which is not a single substance. Test timing: aminoglycoside therapy strives to achieve a high peak followed by a low through the avoid accumulation. Under traditional dosing regimen, this requires monitoring of both peak and through concentrations, which may be frequently repeated until results stabilize. Technologies used in therapeutic drug monitoring: HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography; GC or MS, gas chromatography; mass spectroscopy; LC, liquid chromatography; RIA, radioimmunoassay; PATINIA, particle enhanced turbidimetric inhibition immunoassay; ER, enzyme immunoassay; EMIT, enzyme multiplied immunoassay techniques; FPR, fluorescence polarization immunoassay; chemiluminescence Acmia affinity chrome mediated immunoassay, and Cedia cloned enzyme donor immunoassay. Clinical significance of TDM. Therapeutic drug monitoring data provides the clinicians with greater insight into the factor determining the patient's response to the therapy. For example, when a patient fails to respond to a usual therapeutic dose, measurement of plasma level can help to distinguish a non-compliant patient and a patient who is a true non-responder. TDM also provides useful information regarding the individual variations in drug utilization patterns and alteration in drug utilization as a consequence of altered physiological state or disease process. TDM is a useful adjunct in treating many patients provided the potential pitfalls and problems are considered. TDM and pharmacokinetic studies help the physicians to provide optimum care by helping the physicians initiate therapy to achieve the maximum therapeutic effect for the patients in the short amount of time, minimizing the risk of drug toxicity and ensuring drug side effects are controlled and minimized. Patient counseling. Patient counseling is one of the major duty of a pharmacist other than the dispensing of drugs. Patient counseling refers to the process of providing information, advice, and assistance to help the patient to use their medications appropriately. Patient counseling is an approach that focuses on the enhancing the problem-solving skill of patients for the purpose to improve or maintain the quality of health and life. During the patient counseling, the pharmacist should assess the patient's understanding about his or her illness and the treatment, and provide individualized advice and information which will assist their medications. In the patient to take their medication is the most safe and effective manner. Good communication skills are required to gain the patient's confidence and to motivate the patient to adhere to the recommended regimen. Objectives of patient counseling. Good communication skills are needed to gain patient confidence and help motivate the patient to adhere to the recommended regimen. Better patient understanding to their illness and role of medication. Improve medication adherence. More effective drug treatment. Reduce incidence of adverse drug effects and unnecessary healthcare cost. Improve the quality of life for patients. Better coping strategies to deal with medication-related adverse effects. Steps of patient counseling. There are various steps in the patient counseling. First, preparing for the session, opening the session, counseling content, and closing the session. How the patient counseling is done. Pharmacists used to make a record on patient symptoms, genetic disorder, and physiological parameters like blood sugar, blood pressure, and sent to the specific doctor. Patient counseling contain. Patient counseling contain the medication trade name, generic name, common name, or synonym. The medication's use and expected benefit and action. The medication expected onset of action and what to do if action does not occur. The medication route, their dosage form, and administration schedule. Direction for preparing and using medication. Patient counseling contain action to be taken in case of missed dose, precaution to be observed during medication, common adverse drug effect, drug-food interaction or drug-drug interaction, proper storage of medication, proper disposal of contaminated medications, any informative unique to an individual patient. Sometimes pharmacists also play a role of transcriptor. Communication skills for effective counseling. Communication skill of pharmacist can facilitate formation of trusting relation with patient. Communication skills are subdivided into two types: verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal communication contains language, tone, volume, and speed. Non-verbal communication contains body languages, proximity, eye contact, and facial expression. Barrier of effective communication. Barriers to effective communication include environmental barriers, semantics, negative attitude, and time barriers. Environmental barrier. Environmental barriers such as lack of privacy and furniture between patient and pharmacist, which prevent effective communication. It comes under physical barrier. Semantics. Semantics relate to meaning, word or symbol in interpersonal communication. Word or symbol can have multiple meanings. Therefore, effective patient communication required to use the word carefully. Negative attitude. It is usually caused by a lack of confidence. Pharmacists should strive to improve their talking skill through practice. Time barrier. Time barrier is very common when it comes to pharmacist and patient. Time are often excuses not to counsel through. It often does not take very long time. Steps of patient counseling. Counseling is two-way communication process, and interaction between the patient and the pharmacist is essential for counseling to be effective. First, preparing for the session. The success of counseling depends on the knowledge and skill of the counselor. The pharmacist should know as much as possible about the patient and his or her treatment details. If the patient is receiving a medication which is unfamiliar to the pharmacist, then a drug information reference should be consulted before counseling commences. Opening the session. The first phase of counseling is used for the collecting information. The pharmacist should introduce him or herself to the patient and greet them by name. It is best to use titles such as Miss, Mrs. and Mr. and then switch over to the first name. The pharmacist should identify the purpose of the session very clearly. For example, hello Mr. Srinivas, I am Vinod, your pharmacist. I would like to tell you about your medication. Do you have a few minutes to spend with me? Patients may be disturbed and distressed due to their illness. A few kind of words to demonstrate empathy and understanding will assist the counseling process. During counseling, the pharmacist should avoid asking questions in a direct or embarrassing way. Show excessive curiosity, discuss the patient's personal problems, pass moral judgment, interrupt when the patient is speaking, make premature interpretations or argue with the patient. Counseling content. During this stage, the pharmacist explains to the patient about his or her medication and the treatment regimen. Topics commonly covered: name and strength of medication, the reason why it have been prescribed if known, or mechanism of action, how to take the medication and by which route of administration, expected duration of treatment, expected benefit of treatment, possible adverse effects, possible medications or dietary interactions, advice on correct stage, minimum duration required to show therapeutic benefit, what to do if a dose is missed, special monitoring requirement, for example, blood test, sugar. Closing the session. Before closing the session, it is essential to check the patient understanding. This can be assessed by feedback questions such as, can you remember what this medication is for? Or for how long should you take this medication? During the discussion, some of the patient information needs may have been cleared, but the patient may have new questions or doubts. Before final closure, and if time permits, summarize the main points in a logical order. If appropriate, the pharmacist can supply their telephone number to encourage the patient to make contact if they need advice or any type of information. Thank you.